Hey, this is another wild adventure of the Nautilus Studios M31 Files. And today we have with us singer-songwriter, author Mark Stevens. And we're going to learn a little more about Mark today. And he's a bass player, and man, he's in the right group here. We're bass players.
That's right. We are.
So, let's let the interrogation begin.
Songwriter's the one credit I'm going to take off because I wish I could write songs.
Yeah, you've never done one of them.
I've put some lyrics together, like occasionally, but they always seem so corny.
Yeah,
really?
I'm totally with you.
But
I know. I'm fascinated by people who get, write a lyric and then put it to a melody because I just don't.
Well, that's a different game. At least the lyrics, I would think you would write something that'd be very clever.
I do want to. I want to I challenge myself and write some lyrics. I really do. Yeah, but I just haven't done it.
Right. Hey, you know, you can do everything.
We're still young.
That's right. It's all relative.
We got a year or two left to be
You never know.
shaking hands with the man upstairs.
So to go back a little bit on who actually we brought you as, which is a writer, which is I'm so in awe with that because I wrote a book and
it was good. It was good.
Of a job.
You're good.
I'm terrible. I mean, it's my first language on top of it. So
right.
But anyway, I want to know before we actually start talking about you as a writer, where are you from?
I grew up outside Boston,
in
the suburbs of Boston. Nice, beautiful, upper middle class, town. Really nice. My parents were both librarians. You can imagine that, both on the kind of like heady educational end. They were both had their masters in library science. My father worked.
There is a master in library science.
Yeah.
The Dewey Decimal System.
Well,
where does that decimal go?
Actually, my father was in like the 60s. He was working at MIT in a thing called Project Intrex, Information Transfer Experiments. And they were trying to get computers to send information from one computer, imagine this, to another computer in the 60s.
Yeah.
And so they were working at a really kind of high level.
Well, MIT, I mean... It's very much as high as you can.
Yeah.
So that was with Fortran and C-Tran and punch cards.
It was.
And they were trying to communicate.
Yeah. And
wow.
So did they get somewhere?
They did, actually.
Okay.
Because he ended up building library networks across the Southeast, connecting libraries from Florida all the way up through Ohio. He was based in Atlanta for a while, this network called Solinet, which was Southern Library Network.
Okay.
So, and that was in the late 70s. I mean, 15 years before the internet really started.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he foresaw
the internet. No, but he was one of the pioneers.
Building blocks.
Yeah.
So,
that's amazing.
I grew up in this I would wish this on anybody, to be raised in a house with intellectually curious parents.
You wouldn't wish that on anybody.
I would wish that on anybody.
You would?
Everybody.
You would.
Everybody.
I thought you said would.
Yes,
I was going, why not?
I would wish that on anybody
be
raised in a house where ideas were just good, discussion, and you'd sit at dinner and talk about interesting things and the latest book you've read or something like that. I mean, they weren't like, this is the way the world works. Kind of people,
And did that inspire you at all in terms of wanting to go a bit more towards, like your dad's science, your mom?
What it gave me was the reading bug.
The reading.
The reading bug. I had one older brother, one younger brother. I was in the middle. I think I was the one that really got the reading bug.
Really young? Or?
Really early on.
Okay.
Really early on. Just voracious reader. Loved going to my school library. Loved going to the town library. All of that.
Wow.
And just getting
You were
books
that
out.
Smart guy. Everybody was looking over your shoulder.
No, I was still getting C's. Believe me, I was a C student all the way through high school. Yeah.
Was there music going on in your household?
There was in my, so my older brother and I, we've already discussed our age, so we won't go into that. But
Yeah.
I was 9 when the Beatles hit, and we were just Beatle freaks.
That was it. Huh?
We were Rolling Stones freaks. We
Yeah.
were into the Who. We'd go on the weekends to buy records. We'd
Yeah.
come home and just sit in our rooms. I mean, he had a record player, I had a record player. Which room do you want?
Exchange things.
We
and
just
talk.
yeah. And we had the music cranked all the time, and often doing air guitar, playing along.
That's what got me started. I felt the what an audience can do to get you high is the introduction to the show Bonanza was down, and I used to get in front of the TV and do my air guitar, and everyone would crack up, and hey, it's pretty
this
cool.
is cool.
I'm funny. I'm a funny guy.
Yeah. They're looking at me.
Bonanza, So then I
Very
worked
cool.
on surf music, Pipeline after that.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, my older brother liked the Beach Boys a bit more than me, so it was kind of like, so I was more of a Stones guy. We both loved the Beatles. We both loved the Who, but he was more Beach Boys. Although, of course, I came around, totally appreciate that.
Yeah,
and Jan and Dean.
And the English invasion, though, went so far. Animals, that was some great blues and
absolutely.
Some really
people
cool
came
stuff.
out at a time though.
Yeah.
No, I was really
Some
just
explosion.
swept up in all that. That was,
me too.
and I haven't stopped. I going right through. I love the punk era. I love the new wave era. I love the grunge era. I love all the independent music today. I mean, I just
And
see, that is really
rap.
cool.
I loved rap.
You
I have
did.
a huge rap collection, a huge reggae collection.
Yeah,
I love reggae. Yeah, I love rap. I can't say I follow hip hop today, but there was about 15, 20 years of just really consuming a ton of
You are
hip hop.
an
Loved it.
open-minded character.
I know, right?
Yeah.
I remember one time going to on a vacation and just transcribing Eric B. and Rakim, one of their early albums, just transcribing the lyrics before you could get the lyrics, and just like being amazed.
Figuring it out. And,
Yeah.
Oh, you had them on the album.
No, I'd write them down because
You had
there was
to
no
listen.
place you could get them. You
Yeah.
had to go back and forth and back and forth. And
Yeah. I was like that. You remember the first James Taylor album that opened up
Fire and Rain.
Peter Asher was the co-guy, and they were doing all this symphony music in between songs that would morph into the other. Well, they had the lyrics on that album, and a lot of them weren't right, and I had every correction from the all through that. I mean, I knew that album back and forth.
That's great.
So on the album, they didn't put the right lyrics?
They didn't put the right lyrics.
They probably were not quite
cool.
involved.
Yeah,
with
it was like
the
James Taylor,
artwork. Yeah.
it probably wrote these things, and when he went to sing
He
them,
sang a little different.
and who's going to tell him that was wrong, James? Well, you wrote it this way.
And sometimes they decide last second in the studio, they keep singing that line. They're like, why don't I change that word?
But he had
and it
already
feels
written the
better.
album thing maybe weeks ago.
For the
something.
artwork, and it worked.
But it had a lot of
expressed,
editing in it. Yeah, I wish I still had that
Interesting.
original album because.
you're probably the only one who paid that close attention.
Oh man, I did. I just I flipped out. In fact, I had a friend that was going to Harvard from San Diego. We were doubles partners in San Diego, tennis, and he was 1 year ahead of me. And he called me up and he said, "You gotta check out this guy. He's got a brother Livingston, but he's playing out here." And he says, "You got to check him out. He is gonna take the country by storm." And that was before the album was even available. So as soon as it came out, I grabbed it and I go, "Whoa!"
Yeah.
That was James Taylor?
James Taylor's first album, which to me was just
trumps everything else.
It had everything. I mean,
I need to listen to it.
It's good.
I know you've listened to just about anything that you can possibly find.
I think it's amazing that James Taylor's still, here we are in 2026.
Still an age.
He's still putting stuff out.
That's
Totally.
so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Yeah.
So, writing. So you said you got an interest in reading, huge interest from your parents.
Yeah.
In a way, being exposed. And
Yeah.
was there a style of writing that you were drawn to at that time?
Well,
or just anything you could get your hands on?
I really didn't see myself as a writer for quite a while. What I knew I wanted to do was be a reporter. I was, for some reason, I was in middle school, high school. I loved consuming the news. I loved reading the newspaper. My mother would bring it home from downtown Boston where she worked, and I'd grab the Boston Evening Globe and just sit on the couch and read it. Talk about a nerd. And I'd go watch Huntley Brinkley on the TV, and I just wanted to be a reporter. I thought that would be so cool.
Wow.
So I really focused on...
So you studied that?
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
I worked on my high school paper. I worked on my college newspaper. I had a really good job in journalism right out of college. And, I really was focusing all my writing on that kind of stuff. And then in the early 1980s, a friend handed me a mystery novel. I'd never read any crime fiction, detective fiction, that kind of darker stuff. And I went, wow, this is amazing. I love the whole format and genre of it. The fact that crime fiction, when you get into it, there's all these different characters and types of detectives, or sometimes there's no actual detecting going on. It's just a story about a warped person who makes some bad decisions and gets in all these weird situations and has to get out of it. Usually there's a murder and some
well, in your books usually there is.
So then when I discovered that genre, I thought, I wonder how hard it is to write a novel.
Did you have so you studied writing, right, in school?
I studied English. Mostly just read, heavy books and write about the heavy books like Conrad or Hemingway or Shakespeare.
Did you feel you had learned things that were applicable to understanding how a fictional book is constructed?
No.
Okay.
Because I think reading big, heavy books and then trying to write an essay about it is a whole different thing than saying, okay, I'm going to tell you a story, but I'm going to put it on paper.
Right.
And I'm going to write it down, and then it's going to be this long, and I'm going to go find a publisher. That's a whole different
mentality.
It's a whole different mentality, exactly, than trying to analyze a book and trying to make some juicy points out of trying to impress a professor, and to show them how closely you read a book.
So most of your studying ended up being that.
Yeah.
And now, so how old were you when you said it was in the 90s, right? 80s.
I started writing in the early 1980s, but I didn't get published till 2007. So it took 23 years to get published.
Did you have developed a specific series already, or at that time, or not?
No. And so it was kind of lucky, I guess is the only way to say it, because I had written 4 complete books. I had really good agents in New York for all 4.
Oh, wow.
And then finally the 3rd book in the 4 I'd written got picked up by a small publisher in the Boulder area. And that came out in 2007. And it did well enough that people said, turn this, what I thought was a standalone novel, turn it into a series.
Okay, that's what.
And it's a kind of a long, it's not a very interesting story, but it ended up being 5 books with 3 different publishers, and that's just, it's very difficult business in a lot of ways. Just companies close, but that all led to just getting another really good agent in New York, and then the sort of second phase of my career has been in the last 10 years or so.
Yeah, and you've been super successful. I mean, how many books have you written?
So I've got 8 books out, and I've got a few in the bullpen, I guess I'd say. They're in my back pocket, that are ready to go as far as I'm concerned, and my agent is trying to find a home for. And so I mean,
if you don't mind, just going back to your agent in New York originally. So even with an agent in New York having her hands on 4 books, not just one, and eventually she got a small publishing company in Boulder, Colorado.
I actually, so the first agent I had, still there. This was 1989.
Okay.
That agent is still a major agency in New York. They tried to sell that book and they dropped me. Second agent I got, second book, different book, was actually John Grisham's agent, at the time.
Good
in
guy,
the early, pretty good guy. I thought I was set. John Grisham's agent is going to sell my new mystery novel. I mean, I thought I was
How
set.
can you go wrong? Yeah.
They couldn't sell it, and they dropped me. Third agent in New York, still exists to this day. Great agency, represents some big-time authors. We worked together for a year, actually more like a year and a half, making the book as good as it could be. We went out to the editors, got turned down. We made some more changes to the book based on their feedback. The agent took it back out. Well, he said he was going to take it back out. And then I got a letter in the mail saying, we're done. Goodbye. Good luck. Just after a year and a half of work together.
Yeah, and you had all the hope.
All the hope.
Yeah,
all the hope.
it's that yo-yo that they do with you.
Right.
It's so tough.
So then I wrote the fourth book and couldn't get an agent for that. And I thought, well, this isn't going that great. But then I just met through networks a guy who was starting a publishing company outside Boulder. So he was a small company. I think he ended up publishing like 6 different authors. Okay. And then he ran for about 5 or 6 years, and then he folded his tent and closed down. But by then, people were asking for the second book in that series, which was about a female hunting guide in the Flat Tops Wilderness, which is in Colorado.
I want that.
Okay, well, I got 5 of them.
Yeah, it's a series.
Yeah.
What is the
Allison,
her name?
Allison Coyle.
Yeah.
That's the character or the title?
Character.
What's the title?
No, each book has it.
Yeah, Antler Dust, Buried by the Rhone, Trapline, Lake of Fire, and The Melancholy Howl. And Lake of Fire, of course, after the Nirvana. Well, it was actually a Meat Puppets song. It inspired that title. Yeah, I actually had to write the Meat Puppets to get permission to quote their lyrics.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
well, at least you did.
Yeah,
right. Hey, I want to ask you something, so because I don't want to forget this. So, from your first agent to the point where you started getting actually published and things started taking off, whichever way they did.
Right.
Did you feel you were learning something about what to do on your next book, or how to arrange them, or what was the feedback?
There's an amazing paradox. Absolutely. I learned so much. I really started learning a lot when I joined writing groups, which you could almost put a chart together. Like, here's sad little Mark writing his books by himself and getting good agents, but he's all by himself. And he thinks he's going to be a world famous author someday, but he's nobody. Right. Then he joins writing groups, and really everything just sort of blossomed, and I just had friends and people advocating for me. What's ironic and the paradox of all this is, if those early books had gotten published, I would have been trashed. They were so bad. Looking back, I learned so much about how to make them. They were okay, but I'm so glad. I'd have 1 star online for all those books. They would be, because I can look back and see how much I learned.
But yet you did get agents. I don't think they would even pick you up.
I mean, it was close. It was close.
Okay,
it was just like C+, B-.
Right. When you say they were not that bad.
They were okay.
Otherwise,
They were okay.
But you cringe when you go back and look.
I cringe. So it's at the time, if I could tell myself,
like your first song.
yeah. Just be
patient,
patient, but anyway, having friends and joining writing groups is the key to building your network and having people look at your stuff or listen to a song, give you some feedback, and say that doesn't work for me. This section is boring. Take out all this stuff,
I've read a few Stephen King books recently, and I hadn't read anything 40 years ago, The Stand,
Right.
Yeah. But I read them and I thought, man, I'm not that impressed, to tell you the truth.
He's got a style.
I'm looking at a lot of stuff and I'm going, I just, I didn't think it was up there. I thought it was kind of in here,
Yeah, his word by word stuff is kind of flat.
Yeah.
But his ability to draw you into a story.
Yeah.
I love some of his short stories where he's really just dialed in.
And
on
I think
really
that's probably what I would enjoy more. Yeah. But I was reading the series of the Gunslinger and all that stuff.
Dark Tower.
Yeah, Dark Tower.
Yep.
And some of it I'm just going, that's pretty weak.
Yeah.
Let's let's get going, But anyway, that's me just as a reader,
I hope this feedback gets back to him so he can change what he's doing.
Steve?
Yeah, well,
Steve.
Stephen?
Yeah.
You heard this?
Yeah. You might make some money if you listen to it.
Yeah, that's... we're going to help you.
Yeah.
No, I have to admit, for me, it's too gory. It's not my kind of thing. I love mystery and science, and I love when it has a little bit of sense. When it gets to the point where it's like magical and the cause killing people, I'm like, okay, this is too much for me. It's like, paranormal is not, and especially when it's shocking. Like people getting brutally murdered. Not my thing. Yeah. But going back to you. Because really, that's all right.
Enough for you.
So, when I looked at, as I mentioned, sadly, I wrote a book because I wanted to do it once,
Yeah.
But I went online because I know absolutely nothing, and I found out a few do's and don'ts that seem to be across a lot of people that apparently are professional people that are successful, and they give you some advice, and you do whatever. And did you do that at all, ever?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah. And I don't know a writer who doesn't consume all that kind of advice and guidance.
Okay.
The thing is, it's endless.
Right.
There's no shortage of advice about what to do and how to do it.
And I've seen some that are contradictory,
Absolutely.
which is you're like, okay, what?
There is no.
You pick.
It's an art.
Right.
It's a personal art.
Mm-hmm.
There are formulas. There are people who think they know the right way to do it. I think the more didactic and kind of the more emphatic they are, like this is how you do it, the chances are they're wrong. They're wrong.
Yeah.
There's
nothing is black and white.
Yeah. I was talking to somebody this week, and she said, I was told that I can't, if I write 2 pages of fiction, I can't go back and edit. I have to keep writing to the end. I said,
what?
Absolutely not. You can go back and edit. She said, no, my instructor said I've got to keep going.
Because they want a flow thing.
They want a flow thing. I said, do what's right
when you
for you.
Read, to me, sometimes it helps you with the flow anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And I said, that's exactly what I do. So if it works for me, why wouldn't it work for you? Just, you need to get comfortable with your own style. And everybody says, what's your process? When do you write? What machine? Or do you write by hand? How many words a day? Do you need quiet? Do you need coffee? Do you need alcohol? Whatever it might be.
It's all of it works.
What it matters is you sit down and put some words together. Everything else doesn't matter.
You just got to initiate it. You got to get it rolling, huh?
If it's up here, how can I read it?
Yeah,
you need to put it in a form,
which is so hard to do.
Yeah.
How did you get to that first the book that became a series?
Right.
When you wrote that book, you said you didn't see it as a series; it was just another book, right?
Right.
How did you see? How did you come up with the ideas? Basically, I guess that's what I'm coming at.
Yeah.
Like, how did you? Okay, series. Okay, what do I do next with this?
Yeah. Well, I guess I was somewhat fortunate because just a little bit about the main character in the series. She's an outsider. She is a hunting guide in the Flat Tops, but she survived a commercial airplane crash. Mm-hmm. So she's there healing from her trauma mentally and physically, and she becomes a hunting guide, and she becomes very passionate about the outdoors. And in the first book, I had quite a few characters other than her that built around her. And there was a big story that kind of finishes at the end of book 1. But I had enough other characters to keep in motion so I could just give them other storylines.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then because it's Colorado, because it's this beautiful wilderness area, the Flat Tops is north of Glenwood Springs, south of Meeker, kind of Rifle, all the Yampa.
Skinny Fish Lake.
There's 140 lakes back in there. It's beautiful, beautiful.
Yeah.
So you have all these environmental pressures on the area. And so the second book looked at the issue of fracking and all the drilling around there, which the Roan Plateau has got all this drilling on it right next door. Mm-hmm. The third book looked at for-profit prisons and illegal immigration, which you'd think you couldn't do, but I found a way to do it. And that book actually won the Colorado Book Award for Best Mystery. Awesome. Then Lake of Fire was about forest fires, and it actually had a whole subplot about characters who are anti-government and kind of people who don't believe in government. They had that whole sub-theme. And then The Melancholy Howl was about legalized marijuana. So you just took issues that were sort of happening and said, how can I bring them up into the...
That's interesting. Yeah. You didn't just come up with another story for the character to go through. You added elements of the area.
Right. Yeah.
And each book addresses a different one.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is really cool.
And then there's changing relationships among all the sub-characters. And so, like there's a reporter in Glenwood Springs who kind of has a romantic interest in Allison, but then that shifts to her best friend, Trudy. And so there's just sort of some...
you have to have a little drama. Human
soap opera. But those did well. I thought I would keep writing them, and then other things happened, which was fine.
Well, you have some material brewing that's getting ready to happen here in the western United States. Don't you feel like you want to delve into that?
Yeah. So there's, the Flynn Martin series, which started just about a year ago, and now book 2 just came out last month. We're in May. Yeah, it came out last month. And book 3 will be out next spring. In that series, that's all set in Denver. And that, I can't change that. It's under contract. I've got to finish book 3 and get it out. Yeah. Now I'm
under... And what is the subject of that series?
So that series is about, it started with a book called No Lie Lasts Forever. It came out last year.
Right. Okay.
And No Lie Lasts Forever is about a retired serial killer who he's hiding in plain sight.
Is he getting a pension?
That's good. Yeah.
He's going to rewrite the passage.
The serial killer union. Where's my check? Where's my check?